Okay, cooperation, competition, groups, tribes, where are we heading with this? Imagine the 7.6 billion humans alive today all led solitary lives, like tigers or leopards. We'd be like billions of pinballs bouncing around the natural world and each other with no purpose other than as solitary individuals seeking out food, shelter, and mates and to be left alone. If you find that hard to imagine, it is, because this situation could never happen with our species as it now exists, that so quickly and effortlessly forms strong social bonds with others based on abstraction and opportunity. In the animal kingdom, there exists a behavioral spectrum running from solitary species to social species. Most animals aren't social at all. At the highest levels of sociality are a few eusocial, real social species, characterized by overlap of adult generations, division of labor, and cooperative care of young. Ants, bees, and wasps are prime examples of this type of species. Humans don't quite reach the level of organization of an ant colony, who have the better part of 100 million years head start on us. But we're intensely social in our daily lives in similar ways. In hunter-gatherer times, we cooperated as tribal units to access resources and unite in common defense against predators and enemies. For our ancestors, lone hunters could not have killed and eaten too many mastodons, even if they were strong and mean. Functioning as a larger entity was necessary to bring down big game for humans, as it was for other pack hunters. The human brain claims 20 to 25% of resting metabolic energy, compared to 8 to 10% in other primates, and just 3 to 5% in other mammals. Most of the explanation on why this is the case is due to the complex social interplays of living in dynamic, competitive, collaborative tribes. There was an arms race of assessing someone's intent, if they were lying, who they were plotting with, who they were sleeping with, who they were fighting with, and how your relationship with them stood. In hunter-gatherer times, we cooperated as tribal units to access resources and unite in common defense. Following the agricultural revolution, though, human groups, villages, cities, and eventually nation-states self-organized in order to maximize surplus, which was then food, and defense. This complexity of throughput and organization was only possible because of our self-organizing groups, our innate sociality, caring about others, caring what others thought about us, and cooperating in creative ways with others and working together towards common goals. The superorganism is the emergent result of 7.6 billion of us pursuing our own lot and cooperating towards surplus, profits, and GDP, which we'll explore more in the upcoming energy videos. The important point here is that the reality that humans are ultra-social means that we, as a species, can and do suppress the needs and wants of the individual to attain the goals and advantages of our larger functional unit. The global functional unit today is organized around growth and material throughput of a globally interconnected economy. But this superorganism is super an organism in size and resource use only. It lacks awareness, strategy, and consciousness found in individual humans. And this underpins our modern dilemma. Despite many people recognizing the risks of resource depletion, species loss, inequalities, climate change, etc., our institutions and markets forge ahead mindlessly. Could our ultra-social natures be harnessed for a different and more sustainable future? I believe so, which brings us to the topic of cultural evolution. Because the virtual worlds in our minds can inherently change much more quickly than the slow pace of natural selection, cultural evolution can and does happen many orders of magnitude faster than biological evolution. A famous example of cultural evolution was the development of canoes in Polynesia around 3,000 years ago. Anthropologists followed the progression of functional features on outrigger canoes that would have an impact on the seaworthiness or the fish-catching potential of the boats. These canoes were not biological organisms reproducing via genes, but they were products of cultural transmission of knowledge and technology. The process has many parallels with biological evolution. Functional canoe design elements changed slowly over time as selection weeded out the inferior cultural designs. Both biological change and cultural change operate on the same basic dynamics of variation, selection, and heritability. The takeaway is this: we are not just a product of our genes, but rather our genes and our mutable cultures interacting with our environment. The type of changes our 21st century environment will make to our descendants' genes is an open question. What we're focusing on is whether our culture can mutate to make an adequate and timely response to the fact we're causing, and in the middle of, what looks to become the sixth great extinction, while we simultaneously face energy-based limits to growth and a host of other inconvenient truths, which we'll be covering in upcoming videos. These are urgent questions, especially for 19-year-old freshmen. Okay, quick summary of the groups, tribes, sociality aspect of human behavior. The dual drives of competition and cooperation were conserved during human evolutionary past and are present in all of us, depending on the circumstances, except for sociopaths maybe. Number 2, we are intensely tribal and easily form bonds with people we feel are part of our group, even if the group is a sports team or even arbitrarily assigned. We naturally support people in our in-groups and ostracize people in our out-groups. This is why current political discussions are becoming more about the messenger than the message. Point number 3, we are an extremely social species. We have the minds and wiring to live in small roaming hunter-gatherer bands, but are running a planet by an economic system optimizing dollars and growth. And point number 4, biology determines what we need, culture determines what we want and how we get these wants and needs. What is accepted and approved by a culture can change far faster than genetic evolution, and this offers a great deal of opportunity to be part of this larger conversation of being a human alive at this time. Some things to think about. How many different tribes do you associate with? Do they ever conflict with each other? Could you root for an opposing sports team or opposing political affiliation? Try it and see how hard it is. Knowing what you already know about our situation and human behavior, what sort of ways might our culture evolve in the future? And this is more of a recommendation, but given how strongly we are influenced by the groups we affiliate with, I recommend you choose your tribe wisely. The next video gets into our cognitive biases and how we don't necessarily see the physical reality in front of us.